Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Harrisburg City Council Legislative Session, Wednesday, April 27, 2016. I'm calling this meeting to order at 6:15 p.m. Mr. Petrosky, please do the roll call.
Sure. Mr. Allett? Present. Mr. Baltimore?
Here.
Ms. Daniels?
Here.
Ms. Hodges?
Present.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Here. Thank you, Mr. Petrosky. I just want to make known to the public that Mr. Majors is not here this evening. He is excused. He did have a prior commitment that he could not get out of. We do expect him probably maybe 15 to 20 minutes from now. So I just want to make sure that everyone understood that. Moving on to the invocation, Mr. Johnson.
If everyone can bow their heads. I would like for us to think of those less fortunate. I like to thank for those who are the sick and the shut-ins. I would also like us to all give a special thanks and be thankful for our mothers as we approach Mother's Day. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Without them, there would be no us. And thank you for all the mothers in Harrisburg.
Oh, thank you. I was waiting to say thank you. Okay, all right. All righty, thank you. Pledge allegiance, Ms. Daniels.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Daniels. Before I move into communications, I just want to make a statement. Prior to this meeting, you might have seen the City Council agenda. It had Resolution 30. I removed Resolution 30 from the agenda. It was a nomination from the mayor to appoint an individual to the CRW board, which is the Capital Regional Board. This appointment would have replaced an existing member whose term has expired. This outgoing member contacted council members to advocate to be reappointed or remain on this board. The full body could not reach an agreement on the mayor's nomination. Please keep in mind that it is solely the executive power of the mayor to make the determination of whom he would like to consider to replace expiring members' vacancies on boards, commissions, and councils. City Council does not have the legislative authority to appoint or terminate appointments. Our responsibilities is to approve or disapprove after the appointment is placed on the agenda for a vote. With council not able to reach a unified vote, the member temporarily maintains a seat on the board until the administration submits another candidate for consideration. So I just wanted to make sure to clarify that up. I understand that the expiring member went around soliciting support. He will temporarily stay on that board until Mayor Papenfu sends another name down for consideration. And I look forward to seeing that come down to the City Council mayor. Moving on to communications, I'll start at my right. Anyone who'd like to come to the mic, please do so now. I'm sorry, no communications, courtesy of the floor. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Greetings, everyone, and thank you, council, women and gentlemen, and thank you for allowing the community to speak. I'm coming here this evening because I want to bring up some concerns that I have. My name is Rafika Muhammad. I am a resident, and I am born and raised here in Harrisburg, and I have some severe concerns on some of the appointments and positions and councils and et cetera that council and the mayor's office do appoint and to help make recommendations and programs and funding and et cetera that to make our city better and make our city great. I'm very disappointed in that the person that was being presented for the CRW board is either being rescinded, removed, or temporarily on hold. I'm also a member of the EAC, And I am here to talk about me. I read all that, been sitting on that board now for about 2 years, trying to make our city and the city's residents, all of our city, not parts of our city, not our gated communities, as we all know that people come here when we talk about our Shy Pokes and our Midtowns and our Bellevues. I'm not with that. I grew up in Harrisburg. This is what I know, this is what I will support, and this is what I will fight for. The two go hand in hand because we do have an individual that serves on both boards and present themselves on both boards, and sometimes making sure that they are maybe possibly not in conflicts of interest. Sometimes I question that. When you have people that question certain things that people do on these boards and committees, then you become either the rebel rouser, the problem, etc. And then a person like myself, you get tired of it. We have some racial issues that are on some of these boards that need to be addressed. It has nothing to do, excuse me, as far as how long someone has maybe have served, but I'm looking at the individual's mind and their behavior and what comes out of their mouths and then their actions. Some of these people that have served on their boards has also used their service to their own personal benefit to either run for office, meaning that our youth that I developed through the EAC and bringing them to the table to get our children off the streets, and then coming to find out that Mr. Cluck wants to run for office and supporting that, and the people that's also dealing with the sinkhole situation. I brought him to the table on that, and very disappointed. And if these are the type of people that are on these boards, if these are the type of people that remain on Capital Region Water, then I need to ask y'all some questions. What are we doing? What are we thinking about here? We got to look at people's minds and what are they doing. It's not about me. It's about our communities, all of our communities. It's about our children, all of our children. It's about our schools. It's about our city as a whole. And we have some people that are very fragmented in this, and if it's not supporting them, which I've had the experience of serving on this board for 2 years and actually seeing that and working with these people, that's why I am the way I am. That's why I said the things that I said. That's why you had outbursts. Sometimes somebody has to stand up and say enough. There was an illegal meeting that happened last week. EAC is still functioning. It hasn't went anywhere. I don't remember y'all disbanding anything. We're restructuring. And it needs to be restructured. I look at Capital Region Waters Board as being restructured. I happen to come to Public Works to talk to the director there about another issue, how we can do more things in our community, and walk in on an illegal EAC meeting, which Councilwoman Hodge sent out an email, which I received, that there was no EAC meeting. Well, Mr. Cluck was conducting one. And I sat down. His concern, as he shared with me, that he's being replaced by a black woman. Okay. What? She doesn't know anything about water systems. All she knows is about criminal justice. Well, I'm here to tell you, a lot of our activities happen in the prison-industrial complex, and then it comes out into our systems. I think she's very qualified. And how dare he go and do any of that? Lobby. Let's lobby about the truth and what we really do. I have a problem with some things that people do and use and pimp us. I'm a big girl. I have no problem with saying what I'm saying and can take the hit because I know it's coming. Bring it. You get tired. I'm sorry, Bill, it's time. You say a lot of things about me in the paper, and it's time that people really know who we really are dealing with. Stop using us for your personal gain. Mr. Mayor, he's coming after you. He told me that last Thursday, too. I don't know what you done, why you done it, but he's coming after you. He made that very clear. You, Carl, whatever, with promises did not get accomplished or made, he's coming. I don't know, but these are things that are being discussed in our meetings that I feel should never be discussed. Okay. So I don't speak. As y'all know, I come to council, I keep my mouth shut. But I see a lot. And I just want to thank y'all for giving me a moment, but this stuff is critical.
Okay, thank you.
Ask questions when people are coming to lobby you. Y'all all ask me questions. Don't say you don't, because you take me through it. Start asking questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to my right?
Jeremy Domenico, South Summit Street. I just want to remind everybody that a week from Saturday is the Multicultural Festival and Parade in South Allison Hill. It's from 1 to 5. We have unbelievable children's activities, over 50 vendors at this time. The parade is bigger than it ever has been. Everybody's welcome, and we look forward to having a great time that day.
Thank you, sir.
What's the date again?
May 7th.
Anyone else to my right? Anyone in the middle?
Jean Greco, and I live on 301 Chestnut Street. I'm here, thank you for giving me the book about the Strong Plan. At least now I'm up to speed on what has happened over the many years. I was very interested to find out by the audit that was done on the city. I can't understand how you can have a paid, two elected, one was the treasurer, one was the city controller, as well as the finance director. And as far as I can remember, taking accounting in college, Accounting 101, you have to reconcile your books every month. I mean, how could you run a government for, I don't know how far back this goes, the abuse, because I just moved here in October. But I'm being penalized for what happened in the past, and I understand that, being taxed. But I just can't understand how city council can get paid, and everybody just brushes it off like it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It's a lot of money that the city is out of. And I mean, I'm not talking about minimal, it's a lot. But I mean, if you can't go back to basic accounting 101 and reconcile your books, no wonder why you're in trouble. And the poor citizens of the county, as well as the state employees that work outside of the county, or the city, I'm sorry, work outside of the city, will also be penalized. And I apologize if I'm boring you to death, but I'm concerned. And I'm somebody who's new in town, so I have to learn all the stuff that has happened in the past, all the sins. But the sins are coming on my back as well, because I live here. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And no, you're not boring us. Anyone else in the middle?
Hi. My name is David Glenn Fountain Jr. I'm an ex-federal government employee with the United States Army. 3 years ago in the summer, I was visiting my mother in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I was born here, but I resided in Houston, Texas, Texas for 15 years. And I had a discrepancy with the Houston Police Department regarding my wallet being stolen in my own home, in my mother's home. No one never came out. I waited up all that night, irate, and I walked down to the Harrisburg Police Department, and I waited there for just someone to speak with. In the lobby of the police department, there's a telephone. No one answered. So finally, about 6 o'clock in the morning, I ran into an officer named Officer Fenton, and he proceeded to give me a confirmation in crayon on a piece of paper when there was never a police report filed. And I called not too long ago, like 4 months ago. I called again to follow up to see where it stood at. No one responded to me. I left my number. No one called me back. I was visiting, and the reason why I'm irate because I could have been stranded in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And it's to the point where I have next week. You guys will be meeting next Wednesday, right?
No, sir, we won't be.
No?
No, sir.
Okay, so you only meet one time a month?
We meet twice a month, sir. We didn't.
Twice a month?
We didn't meet yesterday because it was election day.
Okay.
We will meet.
I have 2 other discrepancies with the Harrisburg Police Department as well that I will be following up with punitive.
Okay.
Is this to the point where this injustice has to stop? Our ancestors, my ancestors, we are Americans. I'm an African American, a young black man, a young African American man here. This racism has to stop. It has to. So I will be following up. I don't know what measures. I currently reside at 438 South 16th Street. I don't know who's my counsel for that area, but I will be following up with them. I just wanted to alert the city council, the mayor, about the injustice in the city. No one came out. No one came out to the house at all. I called 911 numerous times.
Okay.
No one came out.
Okay, sir, we service the whole city of Harrisburg. Mr. Johnson is the chair for public safety.
Okay.
And if you have a few minutes to wait, he will meet with you after
Yes,
the
ma'am.
meeting. Okay?
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. I'll step out. Come back.
Oh, you can sit here and wait for
Okay.
him. That's okay. That's fine. Until the meeting's over.
Members of council, I have two comments. I want to say first that I feel that you owe Charlotte Plains an up or down vote tonight. Don't hide behind an administrative trick and have her disappear into the ether, never to be heard from again. You have a responsibility. If you feel she's unqualified, then state so publicly and vote no. But she deserves a vote. She deserves a hearing. I feel that she's a very qualified candidate, and you have to take into account that you're going to make it much harder to find people who are going to apply for these positions in the future if this is how you treat the volunteers that come before you, share their stories and their time with you, and then don't even get an up or down vote. To the council members here, I would say any one of you could make a motion to put the resolution on the agenda tonight. And I would ask that one of you stand up courageously and do so, because I feel what you're doing by just simply asking for another candidate and having her disappear is really not a profile in courage, it is a profile in cowardice. Okay. I would also just like to say, because we had a meeting the other week that was not well publicized, that we are making a special effort to publicize a meeting that we're having next week on May 4th, a week from tonight at 5 o'clock at the fire station on 6th Street. You may have read in the paper that the Commonwealth is going to be building a new archives building in that corridor of Harrisburg, and we'd like the public to come, give input, speak to the designers, speak to DGS, speak to the archives, talk about what they'd like to see in that building and in that construction. So that's 5 o'clock, May 4th. I'm told it's Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. 5 o'clock at the Firehouse on 6th Street. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mayor. Okay, anyone else? In the middle, I'm sorry. Ma'am.
Okay, hello. Zach Monnier, downtown resident. I came here tonight for the vote on the amendments to the Harrisburg Strong Plan, specifically the hopes that the consideration of the home rule stays on the amended Strong Plan. I sent letters to several council members about a month ago or so. And I pretty much summed up my points then, but just to recap, it's not a miracle pill, and there are plenty of issues that will come along with considering a home rule plan. But we've had several months now to research it thoroughly, talk to Fred Reddick and many others about what a home rule might do and what the process would entail. And this amendment doesn't necessarily mean we actually have to do it. It just means that we have the opportunity to discuss it openly with the public, with citizens like myself and many others across the city of Harrisburg, and truly look at this as a possible tool to fix our rather broken revenue streams. And I also believe that it should be used in conjunction with some of the things that were brought up as alternative plans, such as asking the state for more payments in lieu of taxes. I know how fast the state moves, and I don't expect that to happen anytime soon, but it is something that should be looked at, especially with the other capital cities that were brought up and the vast difference in state input on those cities' budgets. So yeah, really intense night publicly, and thank you for the opportunity to speak.
You're welcome. Anyone else in the middle? I'm sorry. Anyone else to my right? I mean left. Boy, I'm getting everything mixed up. I'm tired. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Melanie Cook. I am a Harrisburg resident. I spoke last week on behalf of Ms. Plains, an individual who is a private citizen, but is an individual with a vast amount of experience in serving the community in which she has lived for over 50 years. To hear tonight that her name has been removed from consideration, except for the reason being that consensus could not be reached. Knowing Ms. Plains as I do, she's a big girl. If there's a vote and the vote was not in her favor, the vote was not to place her on this board, she would thank you and wish the next candidate good luck. But to remove someone merely because a group of people can't reach consensus, looking at the current political climate in our country, consensus, or the lack thereof, is building a strength among those individuals who have not voted and not participated. If we only acted upon those things on which we had and can reach consensus, not a great deal would get done in this country. And we have to give some consideration to the possibility, at least, that perhaps that is a tactic. If this board cannot reach consensus, then the individual who is appointed, and if I understand and recall correctly, with some not insignificant amount of distress and discontent and failure to reach agreement, then that individual gets to keep his or her seat basically for perpetuity, forever. I find that a little bit stunning and very disturbing. Again, to say that because we cannot all agree, we must keep things as they are, would leave us in slavery, with women not voting, with people of color not voting. And to sit here and say this is uncomfortable, it is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because it's unbelievable, quite frankly. And I really meant to be more mild, but when I start speaking, I just really want to speak and make it very clear that as a city, we can't applaud diversity when it involves going and having hot dogs and hamburgers and setting up a tent. We have to recognize and allow for diversity when it's the tough decisions as to whether or not we're going to assess a stormwater fee and whether or not we're going to raise the water and sewer rates in this city. And who is going to explain how a Harrisburg community is still suffering with a sinkhole problem where other communities receive federal fundings? This is where someone with Ms. Plains' background can step up and be an advocate for the people and a voice that speaks to the people, for the people, and ask the difficult questions. Now, it doesn't just take a Charlotte Plains to ask the difficult questions. We can all ask the difficult questions. And I think it's going to be necessary that we as citizens ask these difficult questions, and we as citizens are going to ask these difficult questions. And so you know, there are people who reside in this city who don't happen to be part of the existing structure, who do have the environmental background to pass whatever litmus test apparently has been set out there. But that's not what the standard should be. The standard should not be that you have specific environmental experience or you have specific wastewater experience. If you recall last week, a candidate whose name I assume is going to be put before you today stood up here and said, I am a resident of this city. I am a man of color. I work for the Derry Township wastewater treatment plant. When I visit the Harrisburg facility, I look around and I see a lack of people who are brown and black. And we need to make our youth understand that these are opportunities, these are jobs that you might not consider, but that will give you an opportunity to maintain a decent livelihood. That starts with a vote to allow someone with a different voice, not a different gender, not a different color skin, with a different voice to be part of the process that makes these decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to my left? Okay.
So I'll just, I couldn't state it more eloquently than Ms. Cook has. However, I want to talk about political courage and political will. If we're asking our residents to come forward and open, and notice, Mr. Cluck has a lot to say behind closed doors for a voluntary position. I would beg to ask, what's really at stake? What is it that Mr. Cluck could do on this side of the table as a volunteer board member that he can't do as a volunteer in the audience that's not paid? What are the ulterior motives? Why is he targeting and engaging you off camera, off record, individually, jockeying for a volunteer position? If you don't have the fortitude and the courage to put Ms. Plains up for up-down vote, you're the equivalent of the Republicans that's not at least giving an opportunity for the president's Supreme Court Justice nominee to even be heard. The bottom line is, we're here in a democracy. We should openly be willfully willing to say, yes, I support Mrs. Plains, or no, I don't. There's no retribution or anything else. You're not going to lose any of your salary. In fact, I would submit that it would be a dereliction of duty not to do something and to push it back on the administration, as if we haven't put forth a quality, qualified community servant. In fact, Mr. Cluck has served the community well. He's done some great things. Let's look at it as a 4x1. Pass the baton, give someone else an opportunity. At times, maybe some people burn out, or maybe sometimes individuals embedded in those organizations are tired of seeing you. They just don't have the willpower to tell you. He's on 2 boards, EAC and CRW, critical. Why is it that he has privilege to serve on 2 boards, yet the black woman, as he says it, can't even volunteer to serve on 1? So to my Caucasian brother, Bill Cluck, I think it robbery to hold down 2 volunteer positions. When the sister who served this community well, that you all agreed to, you've had vast amount of questions, she came before you, she can't even qualify to have an open yay or nay vote, but he can individually engage you all to get you to bring her off the agenda because of consensus. That is a robbery of justice. It's a robbery of honesty, transparency, and social justice. If we continue to bow down to the status quo, we're already treated separate and unequal. LST, everything else, the Taxing Act 47, school district taken over 2 times. At least they voted to put us in bankruptcy in the school district and pass bonds and things. Take her off the list for what? Because Bill Cluck, who's serving on 2 boards, is lobbying you because the black woman is not qualified? And because Singleton tells the mayor what to do, which is further from the truth. What the process is upstairs, the mayor and I, we go out and we find candidates that we think is going to serve everyone in the community well. We then interview that individual and we present the name to legal. Ask council's permission to have them placed on the agenda for a vote. Not to say because we can't reach consensus, we're going to take them off and discourage other community members from coming forth. It takes political will and courage to do what needs to be done. It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. It's not. That's why you're the chosen.
Thank you. Anyone else to my left? Okay. And certainly, to all those who was in support of Ms. Plains, I was a yes vote, and if I can get a second, I certainly will. When we go into session and move forward on the agenda, I will bring it up. I will bring it up from the floor to have Ms. Charlotte Plains placed on the Capital Regional Water. Moving on to approval of minutes. Approval of the legislative session minutes of April 12, 2016. Are there any omissions, deletions, corrections, council members? Hearing none, minutes will stand as approved. Moving on to reports to committees. Report from Chair Johnson on the Public Safety Committee meeting on Monday, April 18, 2016. Mr. Johnson, are you ready for your report?
Yes.
Thank you.
On Monday, April 18th, we had a public safety meeting. At this meeting was Councilman Allett and Councilman Majors and myself. On that meeting, we had 3 resolutions. The first one that we discussed was Resolution 27 of 2016. It was a resolution approving of MAA Annapurna LLC to transfer a liquor license from tent restaurant operation in Susquehanna Township to the city of Harrisburg for a prospective restaurant that is opening at 110 North 2nd Street. At that meeting, he described to us his nature of business is going to be a Indian cuisine style of restaurant, and he's looking to basically make it a transfer liquor license and open up an establishment in downtown Harrisburg. Based upon his testimony and the testimony of his lawyer, I am recommending that that resolution be approved by council. The next resolution that we discussed was Resolution 12 of 2016. It was a resolution ratifying the submission of a grant application to the Federal Emergency Management Agency for the purpose of purchasing hose nozzle and computer tablets for the Bureau of Fire. We had Chief Ederline come and give a testimony on behalf of the fire department discussing the grant. It's one of the micro grants that FEMA offers, where we'll be able to purchase some necessary nozzles and computer tablets for our stations. The next resolution, and I'm going to ask that my council members support that resolution as well. The next resolution that we discussed was Resolution 28 of 2016. It's a resolution ratifying the submission of the application to the Federal Emergency Management Agency for the purpose of funding the hiring of 5 full-time firefighters for the Bureau of Fire. Chief Ederline laid that grant out for us as well. Basically, it will help us get to the numbers that we need to be in terms of being able to provide fire services within the city. It's going to add, we have to see how it's going to work based upon whether it will cover firefighters that may be retiring or possibly adding to our complement. But this is a good grant that we will be pursuing, and I'm recommending that my council members also support Resolution 28 of 2016. The only thing that we need to do for Resolution 27 of 2016, we read into the record as 110 North 2nd State Street. We have to strike out State Street. It should just be 110 North 2nd Street. And as we go to vote on it, I'll make that amendment at that time. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Moving on to report from Chair Williams on the Administration Committee meeting of Thursday, April 19, 2016. The Administration Committee conducted a meeting on April 19, 2016 to discuss several items on the agenda at 5:30 p.m. Present at the meeting was the Administration Chair and all of City Council members. Bear with me because I do have about 7 or 8 things that are on my agenda. Resolution 31 was the appointment of Mr. Garvey Presley to serve on the Capital Regional Water Board, a municipal authority. The Administration Committee interviewed Mr. Presley and found him to be highly qualified for this board. Mr. Presley's qualifications and work experience centers around wastewater treatment, which includes a certification in that area, as well as a quality control coordinator and chemical operator. Presently, he works as an operator 2 for Derry Township Municipal Authority, successfully operating equipment as it relates to chemicals needed to treat wastewater. Mr. Presley brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to represent the city of Harrisburg on the Capital Regional Board. I would ask that my council members vote with me in the affirmative for Mr. Presley to serve on the Capital Regional Water Board. Also, we had an opportunity to interview Ms. Charlotte Plains, Resolution 30 of 2016, and that's the one I removed from the agenda. Bill 3 This is an amended firefighter pension plan, which was originally modified to obtain cost savings for the city of Harrisburg. An actual cost study was done with the savings ranging from $21,000 to $275,000. This plan also provides that eligible employees may purchase military service accrued up to 5 years allowed by statute if they meet the eligibility requirements. This is a good benefit package for firefighters, and the International Association of Firefighters are in agreement with this amendment for their collective bargaining members. I'd ask also the council members vote with me in affirmative for this bill number 3. Bill number 9. The administration, council, and the coordinator met several times to modify the Strong Plan. And Bill number 9 is an ordinance adopting and approving modifications to the approved 2013 recovery plan for the city of Harrisburg, known as the Strong Plan, proposed by the coordinator for the city of Harrisburg and filed pursuant to the Municipalities Financial Recovery Act. After a serious meeting for the public and upon several additional amendments, the coordinator consolidated the modifications to reach a intergovernmental agreement to the Strong Plan. As instructed by the court, City Council is preparing to adopt this plan with the agreed amendments to implement the amended recovery plan for judicial review. This was a collective process by all parties, and I personally would like to thank Mr. Reddick, the coordinator, and his team of consultants, along with the administration and City Council, for their patience, professionalism, and cooperation during this process. I would like to amend this resolution which would take the home rule out of the Strong Plan and be put on a separate ordinance by itself. I'd ask the council members also vote with me in the affirmative for this bill number 9. Moving on to Bill 7 of 2016. It's an ordinance to technically amend and update Section 2-307.7 of the codified ordinances of the city relating to personnel to include salary ranges of pay for non-represented exempt management positions within the city of Harrisburg for the 2016 budget year. This bill was presented by the administration to address management employee salaries and to have a comprehensive study completed on all positions in city government. The study would also include skills performance evaluations and job responsibilities performed on a daily basis by all employees. This salary pay range would only provide ranges until a new salary structure can be adopted. The administration will apply for a grant through DCED for funding of this study to address salary ranges, job descriptions, and performance measurements. There also will be an amendment included with Bill 7 of 2016. During this process, it was discovered that 4 other additional positions were not addressed. A reallocation will be forthcoming to address this issue. It's also on the agenda today. We will not be voting for it, but it's Bill 33, a budget reallocation. I ask that my council members also vote with me in affirmative with this particular bill, number 7. Moving on to Resolution 13 is a resolution authorizing application to Impact Harrisburg to fund up to $3 million for the City of Harrisburg multi-modal transportation project. This resolution is to authorize the city to apply for a multi-modal transportation fund grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for improvements to Berry Hill Street, North 17th Street, and 2nd Street. It's to improve vehicular, traffic, transit, pedestrian, and bicycle routes. The application was submitted on December 18, 2015 to Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, and it requires the city of Harrisburg to have a local match of $2,875,714. The city of Harrisburg would like to apply to Impact Harrisburg for up to $3 million in funds for the cost of the project for the matching money. The total estimated cost of the project will be around $9,585,714. Impact Harrisburg administers funds established by the Harrisburg Strong Plan for the purpose of infrastructure improvement, and the city of Harrisburg is one of 2 entities that can apply for funding. I also ask for the affirmative vote from my council members for Resolution 13, 2016. And this is the end of my report. Moving on with the agenda. Ordinance of first reading, Bill 12, 2016. Mr. Wachowski, please read that into record.
Sure. Bill 12 of 2016 was moved by Mr. Majors, seconded by Ms. Williams, and it's an ordinance vacating and striking from the official map of the city of Harrisburg a portion of Ulrich Streets between Joseph Alley and the lands Norfolk Southern Corporation pursuant to Chapter 3-109 of the codified ordinances of the city of Harrisburg.
That will be placed in Public Works Committee. Moving on to Bill 13.
Bill 13 of 2016 was moved by Ms. Daniels, seconded by Ms. Williams. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 7-323, special exception and variances in the zoning code of the city of Harrisburg by revising Section 5C on the hearing and decisions to 1, clarify that applications are responsible for notifying surrounding property owners of special exception variance requests by first-class letter and provide proof of mailing, and 2, change the existing public notice requirement to property owners within a 100-foot radius of the boundary of the subject property.
That will be placed in Building and Housing Committee. Moving on to ordinance for amendment, Bill 6 of 2016.
Bill 6 of 2016 was moved by Ms. Williams, seconded by Mr. Allett. It's an ordinance amending Title V of the codified ordinances of the city of Harrisburg licensing and taxation code, authorizing an increase of a local service tax for the 2016 tax year and thereafter reaffirming the elimination of the city of Harrisburg's emergency and municipal services tax and authorizing city officials to implement this ordinance.
I make a motion to amend. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. The amendment that I'd like to do for Bill 6, council members starting on line 18, adding is everyone ready? Does everyone have it? Okay.
Yep, there.
Okay. Line 18. Okay, and renumbered. Also on line 19, July 2nd, 2008, 53 PS 6924.101, P.L.197, number 32. Going on to line 24, number 21. 26 is Ann, 27 renumbered. Moving on to line 84. Striking out of $52,156. That's 84 and 85.
On my version, a line.
I think hers is, our version is different.
Oh, your version's
same.
different?
Yeah.
Okay. It's D.
Off by one line.
Okay.
Just keep
It
going.
we're off by one line?
Yeah.
Okay, D, tax. I'll say D, tax. We're just striking $52,156. We're striking that on those 2 lines, company lines. Then we go down to E, director. And we're adding director of the city's bureau. You see that? Then we go to 133.
Madam President, you need to indicate what's being stricken from 87 and 88.
Oh, I'm sorry. Back to director, E. We're striking out business administrator of the city and replacing it with director of the city's bureau. Line 133, or I may be off a line.
134.
134. We are striking out he, his, or him, indicates the singular and plural number as well as male, female, and neuter genders. We are striking that. We are adding political subdivision means the area within the geographical limits of the city of Harrisburg. $199. Pardon?
Yeah.
No, we're okay with, we're okay. We're okay with 141. 199, Section E.
Wait, there's a 50.
149 and 150, no.
Councilman Baltimore, the distinction of the two is there's an original ordinance on the books. The ones that are in black and white there that were previously here that aren't capitalized now, those amendments came down on the first reading. These are technical amendments made after the first reading are the ones being read in at this
We
time.
don't have the highlighted version.
So we don't, so they're not highlighted, no.
Yeah, she has the highlighted version.
I have the highlighted, I'm sorry, I have the highlighted version. Okay, 199, we're striking out 52, and we're replacing that, we're also striking out 52, the amount of money, and putting $156. Is everyone with me? On line 263, we're striking out $52, and we're replacing $156. And also on line 266, we're striking out 52. $378, we're striking out $12,000, and we're replacing it with $24,500. The next line, $24,500. 385, we're striking out $12,000, and we're replacing it with $24,500. And also striking out the $12,000 in dollar cents and replacing it with $24,500. And that's all the amendments. Any questions or comments?
Can you give a history of what happened with the 12 and 24,000? Because we had discussed it, and then the coordinator's office said it wasn't doable, and now it's back in. So what happened?
I think they forgot to put it in as
The
the
first
24,
time?
yeah. From what I understand.
Well, we were in agreement that it was okay to put the $12,000 and $24,000. I know that we were looking at going a little higher than that, but I think at this point, can I suspend the rules for a minute to ask the coordinator a question?
Yes, Madam
I have a
President.
motion to suspend. Am I second?
Second.
Thank you. Fred, could you come here for a minute, please? Because I want to make sure that's right. We originally looked at a higher,
No, the amount is correct.
It was that amount, but there was
no,
no.
we originally looked at a higher amount, so I want you to explain to them how we got to $24,500
That was a median
for the,
income number.
right, the median per
Family
year.
of four.
Family of four.
Right.
So you're agreeable with that?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
We
okay.
Back at one of the earlier.
Well, she had a question about how we got to
Yeah,
that.
because there was an email saying that because you could, that, maybe it came from you, maybe it came from finance, that because people couldn't distinguish between the different income ranges, that wasn't an amendment that could work.
We were in agreement in making that
Can you,
change.
can you go to the mic so we can record that? I'm sorry, Fred.
No, we were in agreement with making that change. It does have a fiscal impact, but we understood the reason behind it, and I think Mr. Allett had originally advanced that request, and we were in agreement on it.
Any other questions, council members? Motion to go back into session?
So moved.
Thank you. Now, back into the amendment. Any questions or comments on the amendments? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Calling the vote for the amendments to Bill 6. Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes,
The amendment's carried.
thank you. Moving on to Bill 7, 2016.
Bill 7 of 2016 was moved by Ms. Williams, seconded by Mr. Baltimore. It's an ordinance to technically amend and update Section 2-307.7 of the codified ordinances of the city relating to personnel to include salary ranges of pay for non-represented exempt management positions within the city of Harrisburg for the 2016 budget year.
Thank you. A motion to amend, have a second?
Second, sorry.
Thank you. I'd like to make amendment on line 54.
One second.
And the amendment is as read. The initial salary ranges fourth in Schedule A are subject to modification prior to final approval of a 2017 annual budget upon council's receipt of an outside professional salary study of the city's exempt and non-exempt management positions. And that's the only amendment I have for Bill 7. Are there any questions or comments on the amendment? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Amendment's carried.
Thank you. Moving on to Bill 9, 2016.
Bill 9 of 2016 was moved by Ms. Williams, seconded by Mr. Baltimore. It's an ordinance adopting and approving modifications to the approved 2013 recovery plan for the city of Harrisburg, known as the Harrisburg Strong Plan, proposed by the coordinator for the city of Harrisburg and filed pursuant to the Municipalities Financial Recovery Act, and otherwise directing in preparation of ordinances, resolutions, agreements, and other documents for consideration as would be necessary for the adoption and implementation of those measures enumerated for the financial recovery of the city.
Thank you. Have a motion to amend. May I have a second?
Yeah, second.
Thank you. Council members, please look on page 57 of Bill 9, and I would add Section 3. The city's consideration of home rule will be by way of a separate ordinance. Moving on to Section 4. We're striking 3 and making it 4. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right here. Gotcha.
On page
Sorry.
On page 3. Bill 9. Bill 9.
Okay.
Okay. 58 or 57.
Okay.
Section 3.
Okay.
The city's consideration of a home rule will be by way of a separate ordinance. Okay? We move down to line 59, might be 60 for you. It says Section 3. We're striking that out, making it 4. We're moving to 63. It says Section 4. We're making that Section 5. We're moving to Section 5. We're striking that out and make it Section 6. The same for on page 4, 75, line 75. We're striking Section 6 and making it 7. And we're striking Section 7 and making it 8. Are there any questions or comments on the amendment? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
The amendment's carried.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinance for final passage. Bill 3. Okay. Let me do this. Bills for final passage.
Right.
Okay. And then,
Well, no, because we have to vote on them, right?
no, on resolutions. Pardon me.
All the rest is votes.
Yeah, all the rest are votes.
We're going to take a 10-minute recess. There's some questions that council members may have regarding the ordinance for final passage, and we would like to take a moment to see if Mr. Majors would like to be a part of the vote. So take a 10-minute recess. Hello, may I have your attention? Harrisburg City Council is now back in session from the recess. We are moving on to ordinance for final passage, Bill 3, 2016. Mr. Petrosky, please read it into record.
Sure. Bill 3 of 2016 is moved by Ms. Williams, seconded by Mr. Baltimore. It's an ordinance of the City of Harrisburg, Dauphin County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, electing to amend its firefighter pension plan administered by the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System pursuant to Article 4 of the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement Law, agreeing to be bound by all provisions of the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement Law as amended and is applicable to member municipalities.
And any questions on Bill 3, 2016, council members? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Bill 3 passes.
Thank you. Moving on to Bill 6, 2016, as amended.
Bill 6 of 2016, as amended, was moved by Ms. Williams, seconded by Mr. Allett. It's an ordinance amending Title V of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Harrisburg Licensing and Taxation Code, authorizing an increase of a local service tax for the 2016 tax year and thereafter reaffirming the elimination of the City of Harrisburg's emergency and municipal service tax and authorizing city officials to implement this ordinance.
Any questions or comments on Bill 6, council members? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
No.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Bill 6, as amended, passes.
Thank you. Moving on to Bill 7, 2016, as amended.
Bill 7 of 2016, as amended, was moved by Ms. Williams, seconded by Ms. Daniels. It's an ordinance to technically amend and update Section 2-307.7 of the codified ordinances of the city relating to personnel to include salary ranges of pay for non-represented exempt management positions within the city of Harrisburg for the 2016 budget year.
Any questions or comments on Bill 7?
Yes, I would just like to make a quick comment.
Sure.
Okay, so just basically I'm providing the rationale for my vote. This was a bill that both myself and Councilman Allett have been asking for many years, and it was finally introduced this year. However, what has been introduced was actually not what we requested. We requested as an ordinance that was based on some substantive analysis of employment within the city. At the beginning of the year, City Council approved budget allocations that addressed some of the inequities in our salary scale, and we had a verbal agreement with the mayor that they were not going to effect until a salary ordinance had been introduced. The rationale for the mayor was basically that the city did not have the money for those raises. We are coming up on the mid-year budget review, so that's an opportunity to see whether the city does in fact have those raises. But currently, the mayor does have the authority to equalize the raises that were approved in the budget allocation at the beginning of the year. The reason I was trying to make sense of what this ordinance was, because it's an ordinance that just exists for 2016, and it was not based on any kind of comprehensive analysis about what the work people do.
Mayor, excuse me.
So,
wait, Ms. Daniels, Mayor. Okay.
It's just being misrepresented.
Okay, please, Mayor, you'll have an opportunity to speak.
So my concern is that we are going into bargaining negotiations, and as you know, under the Act 47 plan, there's a pool of money that's considered for labor costs, and the contract agreements that will be negotiated will be based on that pool overall. And by establishing this ordinance, we're artificially escrowing and separating away a certain percentage of that fund before we even enter into negotiations. So I am concerned that this will create a lack of good faith in the negotiation process, and I would have voted for it if there had been that study done before the scale was developed. So those are just basically my comments. Because I don't want people to think that I'm insane because I'll be voting against something that I specifically requested.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Daniels. Any other comments? Mr. Allett?
Just comment too. The salary ordinance is important, and I share my colleagues' concerns with now that we have the opportunity to do a study. I'd really love the study done prior to passing the salary ordinance. I get all the things we've been talking about, but I just want to see that done. Now that I know it's on the table, I just think it would make it that much stronger when we pass it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? And I want the public to keep in mind that we are in the process of doing a salary study. We spoke with the mayor this evening, and he has affirmed the fact that he will be looking at administering a company to come in to do that. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Calling the vote for Bill 7 as amended. Mr. Allett?
No.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
No.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Bill 7 as amended passes.
Thank you. Moving on to Bill 9, 2016, as amended.
Bill 9 of 2016 as amended was moved by Ms. Williams, seconded by Ms. Daniels. It's an ordinance adopting and approving modifications to the approved 2013 recovery plan for the city of Harrisburg, known as the Harrisburg Strong Plan, proposed by the coordinator for the city of Harrisburg and filed pursuant to the Municipalities Financial Recovery Act, and otherwise directing the preparation of the ordinance, resolutions, agreements, and other documents for consideration as would be necessary for the adoption and implementation of those measures enumerated for the financial recovery of the city.
Questions or comments, council members?
Yeah, I just have one.
Mr. Allett?
As everyone can attest to, I've been a very vocal member of this body to talk about the strong plan and the modifications and the things that we've gone through over the last few months. The challenges that lie before us in some cases is really some flaws in the Act 47 process in itself, which I've also been very vocal about. That process needs legislative action on the part of the state, of which we cannot control, sadly, as much as I think we'd like to influence it. I realize that this, and my colleagues and I've worked, and we've talked a lot about this, and we've worked very hard to this, and I realize that this likely will pass tonight, with my colleagues voting for it. But I will not be voting for it more as a symbolic gesture of the fact that, I want to stand up to the fact that this needs to change. The Act 47 process isn't truly helping communities to get out of financial recovery, and I want that to happen. I'm committed to continuing this conversation. I'm committed to working with the receivers team to get there. And I realize in some ways that I am probably going to stand up and be that symbolic vote no for this. And I'm okay with that because we'll all continue to work together to fight on to get this process done.
Thank you, Mr. Allett. Any other comments?
I have a comment. I've been a part of this discussion as well. And really, when it comes down to it, when it comes to passing or not passing the plan, I don't believe that we should be fooled or have any idea or have any thought to believe that this plan is going to be the cure for Harrisburg. This is literally the first step. It really is going to take us to move from all different fronts, from pushing for legislative change, pushing to really get people on board to kind of pay attention to what's going on in local government, not only in Harrisburg, but in also struggling urban cities. I think, at this point, for us not to pass this would probably take us back and not forward. And, we have been gradually, trying to move forward step by step. It has not been simple. It's been a lot of tough decisions. It's been a lot of tough pills that we've been, frankly, forced to swallow. But we're going against a big juggernaut, and that's the state right now. So it really is going to take for us to really bring things to light, push for change. But we as elected officials cannot just push for change by ourselves. We really need to have our citizens stand with us and stand behind us, because that's what people pay attention to. People pay attention to, we can sit and we can cry and boo-hoo on city council to the end of our days, but that doesn't really push for the legislation change that we really need for local governments to thrive. So I will be a yes vote for this, but it's with that premise that, this is the first step in terms of moving towards recovery, but it won't be the last.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Mr. Baltimore? No? Okay. I concur with my colleagues here. I certainly, at the beginning, on the onset of this, I was not in agreement with the strong plan, but this is crucial to the city of Harrisburg as we go through our financial structure here. I just hope that the Commonwealth hear the cries from the city of Harrisburg that we do need more help when it comes to us financially, and that they will be prepared to open their doors for us. We somehow feel that we were being segregated when the other cities were allowed to have different tax increases, and we weren't allowed to do that. Every time we opted to do something, they would tell us, no, they can't. But I'm in agreement with the strong plan, and I want to see more done for the city of Harrisburg through the legislative body. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Calling the vote for Bill 9 as amended. Mr. Allett?
No.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
No.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Bill 9 as amended passes.
Thank you. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution 12, 2016.
Resolution 12 of 2016 was moved by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Mr. Baltimore. It's a resolution ratifying the submission of a grant application to the Federal Emergency Management Agency for the purpose of purchasing hose nozzles and computer tablets for the Bureau of Fire.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Resolution 12 passes.
Moving on to resolution 13.
Resolution 13 of 2016 was moved by Ms. Williams, seconded by Mr. Baltimore. It's a resolution authorizing an application to Impact Harrisburg to fund up to $3 million for the City of Harrisburg Multimodal Transportation Project.
Any questions or comments on resolution 13?
I have a quick comment.
Yes.
When it comes to like Impact Harrisburg and these grants and the little pool of money that people are applying for, I guess it's a total of $6 million. I know as we speak right now, CRW is also applying for the same grant, and it's my hope and my wish that we can really try to find more collaborative projects to get done for this small pool of money. It's my hope that basically CRW and the City of Harrisburg, we're serving the same residents, and we all have the same goals. We all have the same missions of trying to provide, the essential services that we need to with the aging infrastructures that we have. So, I really don't like the competitiveness between the two organizations. I'm sure there are projects that we can, combine on that should be really, really evaluated. I will be a yes vote for this, but it's with the hopes that, and I want it to be acknowledged that we need to do better in terms of trying to collaborate resources to get things done.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Anything else? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Resolution 13 passes.
Moving on to resolution 27.
Resolution 27 of 2016 was moved by Mr. Majors, seconded by Mr. Johnson. It's a resolution approving the request of MAA Annapurna LLC to transfer liquor license number R-19033 from Tent Restaurant Operations Incorporated, 2625 Brindle Drive, Susquehanna Township, Dauphin County, into the City of Harrisburg to be utilized at Bollywood Bar and Grill, 110 North 2nd State Street, Harrisburg, PA, which is to operate as a bar and restaurant facility. And I believe you have an amendment to that caption.
Mr. Johnson, you have an amendment to that?
Yes. I would like to amend for the record. It should read 110 North 2nd Street, not 110 North 2nd State Street. Can I make a motion?
You need to make a motion to amend that.
I'm making a motion to amend the address to 110 North 2nd Street.
And second. Any questions or comments on the motion, on the amendment? Please call the vote on the
Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Amendment carries.
Now, voting on resolution 27 as amended.
We're calling a vote on resolution 27 as amended. Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Resolution 27 passes.
Thank you. Moving on to resolution 28.
Resolution 28 of 2016 was moved by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Ms. Williams. It's a resolution ratifying the submission of an application to the Federal Emergency Management Agency for the purpose of funding the hiring of 5 full-time firefighters for the Bureau of Fire.
Questions or comments on resolution 28? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Resolution 28 passes.
Thank you. Moving on to Resolution 31.
Resolution 31 of 2016 was moved by Ms. Williams, seconded by Mr. Allett. It's a resolution appointing Mr. Garvey Presley Jr. to serve on the Capital Region Water Municipal Authority Board of Directors, the CRW Board.
Questions or comments on 31? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Resolution 31 passes.
Moving on to Resolution 33.
Resolution 33 of 2016 was moved by Mr. Allett, seconded by Ms. Williams. It's a resolution approving the second proposed 2016 budget reallocation.
That will be placed in Budget and Finance Committee. On the Resolution 30 of 2016, it was a resolution appointing Ms. Charlotte J. Plains to serve on the Capital Region Water Municipal Authority Board of Directors, the CRW Board. We will be putting that on the next legislative session agenda. Moving on, I know Mr. Johnson has,
Yes. I would like to make a motion to appoint Fire Chief Brian Etterline as the designated agent for the city of Harrisburg to execute all needed and necessary paperwork from the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency in relation to the Jonas blizzard of 2016. This is a necessary motion in order for the city of Harrisburg to claim our funds for costs dealing with the snowstorm that we experienced earlier this year.
I second it. Is there any questions or comments on the motion? Please call the vote.
Mr. Allett?
Yes.
Mr. Baltimore?
Yes.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors? Ms. Williams?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to old business. Is there any old business, council members? Hearing none. New business?
I have new business.
I'm sorry.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm pulling up right now. Right now, our Bureau of Fire, they're looking to hire firefighters. And it just opened up for basically for residents to be able to sign up to take the new civil service eligibility test. It's going to be open from April 22nd to May, I believe it's May 20th. So basically during that time, application packets may be secured in person by telephone at 717-255-6475 or by written request through the U.S. mail from the Bureau of Human Relations, 10 North 2nd Street, Suite 406, Harrisburg, PA, 17101. Weekdays in between 8:30 and 5. A $10 postage and handling fee, check or money order payable to city treasurer must be submitted with each request for an application to be mailed. So I'm really trying to encourage people within the city and people within the surrounding areas to apply to join our firefighters. This is a really, really great opportunity. We haven't tested for firefighters in a while now, and really, really be nice to see people, especially within the city of Harrisburg, apply for these jobs to fulfill your civic duty as well as getting paid for it at the same time with a good career with our entrusted firefighters. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for new business?
Oh,
Okay, Mr. Baltimore?
Jackie Park is going to have a CDBG workshop for some of the new members to go over the CDBG process, application process. The 17th of May at a place to get the terms.
Okay.
There'll be notifications coming out from the city clerk.
And is that a workshop for city council members, or is that a workshop for the public?
City council members.
When is that?
May 17th. Should be 5:30. I'm not sure if she indicated a location or not. She gave us a location.
I believe it was going to be in city council conference room or city council chambers.
Okay.
More to come, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, would you contact Ms. Parker Nestor, call me? Thank you. Mr. Allett?
Just want to announce on behalf of Westmore Majors that there will be a Public Works Committee meeting May 4th at 5:30 p.m. here in council chambers.
Okay. Anything else? Any other new business?
Just for folks to stay posted, I'll set the date for the Building and Housing meeting regarding notification to neighbors of properties seeking exemptions and variances. And I would also let the new council members know that the audio of previous meetings will be available with the deputy clerk and city clerk, so that you can get current with the discussions we've had in the past.
Okay, thank you. Is that all, council members? Any more new business? Hearing none, have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Does that have a second? Second? Thank you. Meeting is officially adjourned.